What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voyage RC. Another video in the XFactory RC X-6 Cubed build. This time we're dealing with bag E, which is the rear suspension. As you can see, I've got the shocks, rear A-arms, CVAs, hubs, everything installed. This bag's pretty straightforward, not a whole lot of issues. So just take your time and everything will go smoothly. First thing we're going to do is we need to remove the CVA from the hub. We need to re-shim it, so we need to have it taken out. It's pretty simple. Just remove the hex drive, pull the pin, and the CVA should slide out. You don't have to pull the bearings from the hubs at this point, but I do recommend that since you already have it apart, it's a great time to clean them and drop some oil on them, freshen them up a little bit. With the CVA out, we're gonna add the 1/100 of an inch axle spacer, which makes 3 spacers between the CVA and the hub. This shims it in towards the center of the vehicle a little more. With the new geometry of the new kit, it's required to do that. So go ahead and do that, and then just once you have that extra shim on there, just reassemble the CVA and the hub, the reverse of how you took it apart. Just get it back to the way you had it when you disassembled it from the B4. So just start with the right side and then move on and do the same thing to the other side. That way you have 2 identical sets, a right and a left. Once that's done, it's now time to mount the hub to the A-arm. Here's where your setup comes in again. You're going to have to add spacers to the hub, and the hub will slide forward or rear on the arm. So what you want to do is just get a starting point of where you want to start, and then slide the hinge pin, which is the hinge pin you saved from the B4 disassembly. Slide that in through the rear. The rear side is going to be the angled side of the arm, which also has the mounts for the rear shock. That'll be the rear of the vehicle. So go ahead and start by sliding that hinge pin through the back side. If you're running hub forward, go ahead and put your spacers on, and then you can go ahead and slide the hub onto the hinge pin and slide the hinge pin all the way forward. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to use the 2/56 by 1/8 button head screw that you also saved, and that'll just screw into the hole to capture the hinge pin so it doesn't slide out. That's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. It can be a pain depending on where you have the spacers. If you're running your hub more towards the rear and you've got spacers in front of it, getting that last 1 or 2 spacers on there can be a little tricky, but just take your time. You've done it before, so you know what you're doing. Anyways, just do that with the right side and then repeat for the left. So get the arms and everything ready to kind of go on the vehicle. So did forget to mention, the first thing you got to do is deburr the arms. That'll be the first thing we do on this whole build. Get the Gerfelmorgels off the ends of them, as XFactory has it in the manual. But you just want to deburr them, and you can see right there the burrs on there. You can take them down with a file or some sandpaper if you feel like. There's plenty of clearance there. It's not going to be rubbing on anything if you don't. There's also plenty of clearance on the inside. It's not going to be hitting the transmission brace or the chassis or anything. So you just got to get the casting pieces off of them from the mold. But the next thing we're going to do in order to start mounting these things is Up here you're going to want to install the hinge pin bushing. There's one that goes on each side. You know there's a big hole there on that cross brace. The bushing just slides in there. It can be a little tight since you have everything tightened down on that brace. There's not a lot of clearance, but just try to get it straight and started, and then you just push it in. Using the inner hinge pin to help line it up initially kind of helped a little bit for me, and then just try to push it in as flat and straight as you can. That way you're not gouging anything while you're going in, and it sits in there snug. So with that in on both sides, we can go ahead and slide the hinge pins in themselves. These are new hinge pins. They're longer than the ones that came off the B4, so these ones are supplied with the kit. Go ahead and slide those in, and then we're gonna go based on what setup you want to run. That'll determine where you put the spacers. On the inside you can run arms forward or rear or centered. This helps lengthen the chassis if you need, or shortens the wheelbase a little bit. It is recommended that you put at least one small spacer on the inside forward right here. This helps to reduce the binding on that brace. The arm can bind on it a little bit if you have the arm fully forward. I'm running mine centered. I got one spacer in the rear, one spacer in the front, so I shouldn't have any binding issues. As you can see, it operates fairly smoothly. So anyways, just go off your setup sheet what you want to do on that. If you're running your arms more towards the rear, go ahead and shove the spacers on first, and then you can put the spacers on there how you want them. You can go ahead and put the arms on both sides. Right arm on the right side, left arm on the left side. And then if you need any more spacers, go ahead and put them on the rear of the hinge pin behind the arms. And with that set up like that, you can get your tow bar, which is this long black piece at the end. I'm running the 3 degree. I believe it also comes with a 4 degree. So again, based on your setup, 3 or 4 degree of tow. So just pick what one you want, and then you can slide each side of that over the hinge pins and push it all the way forward up to the rear bulkhead, and then this will get screwed in from the bottom on the 2 rear holes of the chassis. You are going to have to use spacers on the back side. This is your anti-squat shims. So just again, based on your setup, determine what amount of anti-squat you want. There should come with 2 smaller shims at 3/100ths of an inch thick and 4 larger ones that are 6/100ths of an inch thick. So that allows you plenty of tuning options. It does say in the manual that each 3/100th of an inch or the smaller shims equal about 1 degree of anti-squat. So again, just determine your setup and then use the shims required for that. I'm running the 2 larger ones, I believe. So just kind of start the screw in there and then pop the shims in there, and then go ahead and loosely tighten the first one, and then get the second one in, and then you can go ahead and tighten them down, snug them up. And then when that's on, you got the arms on, everything's hanging there, we're ready to go ahead and get set up to run the shocks. So just move up to your shock tower, which is again another tuning option. There's 4 holes that you can use. Go ahead and slide the screw in from the front side. The shock's going to mount on the back side of the tower. I'm using the Lunsford upper shock mounts, both front and rear. So Makes for quick tuning if I need. So just go ahead and get those tightened down on the holes you want to use, and then we can go ahead and mount the shocks. If you're using the big bore, the 12mm shocks, you're going to go ahead and want to put a spacer in there to kind of pop the shock out from the tower a little bit. This helps give it clearance right here so you're not getting any binding as it's operating. So just go ahead and get the uppers mounted, and then mount the shocks on them. And then you can go ahead and mount the shock to the A-arm, which has 3 mounting positions, again based on your setup. So I believe I'm running the second one from the inside on the top and the middle on the bottom. Go ahead and tighten those down, and then you can start. We can swing the hub up, slide the CVA in the outdrive, the dog bone in the outdrive, and then we can go ahead and pop on the turnbuckles to hold everything in place. Get everything set up and steady. And then that is the end of the rear suspension. Like I said in the beginning, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Not a whole lot of issues. I didn't really run anything. I think the hardest part was probably getting those bushings in that brace for the front mount on the inner hinge pins. Just a little tricky because it's snug. You can go ahead and loosen it up a little bit if you need, and then just cinch it back down, tighten it down. I didn't do that because it's aluminum and I have thread lock in it, so I figured I'd just leave it secure and get it in there. But pretty straightforward. It gives you a good chance to clean your bearings, lube them up again, and then I redid my shocks before I put them on. Got them nice and smooth. So just take your time. It's not a long process. It's fairly easy, and it's got a lot of your tuning options in it. So just figure out what setup you want to run, and you can get a starting point for your tuning. So that's it for that. There's bag F left, which is finish it up. So that's just getting all the rest of the stuff in there, including your electronics and everything, and battery brace, upper deck, all that good stuff. So one more step and then we're done with the build. Thanks for watching. Hope it helped. Stay tuned till next time.